Happy to be here, everyone. Happy to see the faces and the projects. So we'll start off here with Fuse.io workshop, open source Monday, how to develop a wallet in 30 minutes. So Mark.
Thanks. So, how much here of you are developers? Like how technical the discussion? So, sorry, I lost my voice a bit. We're not going to actually build a wallet in 30 minutes. I'm going to tell you about Fuse a little bit and talk about our middleware and let you play with our wallet and see it in action and tell you a bit about our design choices, and pretty much everything you see is run on our backend, and you can explore, how to build a wallet using our backend and documentation on our website, and I'll tell you a bit about our platform. Does it work? Yes. So Fuse started 3 years ago with this idea of building a software stack and trying to focus on vertical integration. So we built an EVM. On top of that EVM, we built kind of like this middleware part, middleware infrastructure, you can say, that was optimized for mobile. And the last piece of the puzzle was how the users interact with this, how the user manage keys, how the users use it on their phones, how I can give this to my grandma and let her play with DeFi. And I would never recommend the MetaMask. That's weird. Something's the colors look weird, but forgive me, there was supposed to be a graphic there. So this is a screenshot from FuseCash. FuseCash is an example of our wallet. You can write FuseCash on the App Store and download it. The idea of FuseCash is to that the people that use it don't need to hold private. They were holding private keys, but they don't need to deal with public keys, with gas. They don't need to deal with verification times, trying to create kind of this abstraction. In crypto, gasless transactions is not something impossible, but for people that are not in crypto, to even understand how to do something like that, when you need to sign it on the client side and send it to the server, relate to the, add funding to it, relate to the server, those processes start being very, very complicated. So this wallet, the whole point is to wrap everything in a package that gives you an experience like Venmo, Square Cash, or in Israel like Bit, but still keep it non-custodial. So that was a big challenge, and a lot of thinking went into designing this and thinking how to create this experience. So I'll come back to this later and tell you a bit about the different features. So you can download the wallet yourself from the App Store if you like. You can deposit money into it, and once you finish depositing money, you can get a 10% stable yield. You can swap without gas. You can even connect it with Wallet Connect to other things. This is an Ethereum wallet for all intents and purposes, and it's fully open source. So it's a full stack solution that you can really see all the different parts from the client side. It's built in Flutter. I can talk about Flutter a bit more, why we chose Flutter necessarily for this. And it's fully open source from the infrastructure level as well, from the backend interfaces and contracts and every piece of it. Wow, there's something really wrong with the presentation. So the next thing I want to show you, and again, that was supposed to be our homepage, but this is a new product that we're launching now, and this is, forgive me that it's maybe, there's a bug, but you can go to charge.fuse.io, and basically what we built is a developer platform that allows you to, if you don't want to spin up a relay service, if you don't want to deal with hot wallets, and you don't want to touch, indexing, build indexing services that index prices on contracts, you need some kind of backend, you need some kind of infrastructure, just like Infura or Alchemy. But on Infura and Alchemy, most likely you will be just getting an RPC node. And talking with, for developers, talking with blockchains is very, very, I wouldn't say it's like super intuitive. That's one thing. And the second thing, on mobile, there's a lot of back and forth, and it's not really easy for developers to let users just interact directly with the blockchain. You're starting to get like very bad user experience. You need to approve a transaction, wait some time. Then sign another transaction, wait some time. Then you have a lot of things you want to ask contracts. For instance, what was the price? You know, those prices come from contracts. They need to be indexed. Somebody needs to provide caching for them. Somebody needs to provide load balancing. This not only is a bad experience, it also doesn't scale. You know, just everybody talking with the blockchain through RPC nodes. So you need some middleware. You need a way to make it accessible for, you know, developers that not necessarily want to run their own nodes, but they also don't want to deal with, you know, learning what is an RPC and start talking with contracts directly. I want to do this with my NFT. I want to do that with my NFT. People start to have like specific requirements, and it's no longer just like, you know, something generic. Let's just talk with the blockchain. So I don't believe that in the future consumers, like the mass adoption will come from, you know, my grandma talking to an ERC20 contract. I don't think this is going to happen in the future. You need more and more, you know, infrastructures like that, especially since this technology enables us to create non-custodial middleware, which I think it's a game changer. So you can go to charge.fuse.io, and this is all the backend. You can see tutorials. You'll get an API key, and you can get playing with the infrastructure and get access to APIs like wallet APIs. You can set up airdrops. I want my user, like every new user, to get 20 tokens or 20 USDT, or I don't know. It supports any currency on the Fuse blockchain. And the idea is to enable developers build stuff with a little bit more specific APIs around this vertical of payments, around this specific use case. So we're talking about minting tokens, burning tokens, you know, build your own stablecoin, you know, like ERC20 for USDC. If people here know what is USDC, you know, you don't need to develop your own USDC contract. You can just take USDC, one of the most popular fully backed stablecoins, and, you know, mint your own. So this is very powerful. In general, I think, you know, contracts are really, you know, really good technology, but not everybody should develop their own contract from scratch. There's a big advantage, the fact that there's, you know, already contracts that have billions of dollars, they're already audited, and you can use them on Fuse with, you know, the safety of knowing that, you know, this is the same code that supports like billions of dollars. So tokens API is very powerful. If you have an idea in your head, you just want to create your own, you know, air mile system, this is the perfect token API for you. Allows you to mint, burn, even some e-money features, blacklist, everything that USDC has. Wallet APIs, you know, I want to set up an account, an HD wallet. I want to create ad hoc address or derive an address from an HD wallet, things like that. Payments API, just like Stripe. I want to know that somebody, you know, paid me, or I need a webhook. Notifications APIs, pushes, and things like on mobile that we're doing. You got money, stuff like that. Transfer API when it comes to relay services. So basically automating this entire idea of like the users are not paying gas. Somebody else is paying it for them. So how do we create a system where the user doesn't need to, you know, hold Ethereum to pay for an NFT? You know, you can just pay in any coin, and somebody will handle it in the backend. So I can talk a bit more about that, and et cetera, et cetera. So you can explore this on our website, and this is a new product, and we're really looking to onboard developers and get feedback because this is a new product. In the beginning, when Fuse started, we really thought that, you know, the technology is amazing, and we wanted to focus on low code or no code. But I think it's not there yet. You know, we still need to help developers build stuff because it's not an easy technology, and it's also kind of like building a plane while it flies. The technology is not yet like finalized as a standard. So we decided to like go and focus hardcore on developers and less on like non-technical people. And this is why we launched Charge recently. So just to explain a bit about the stack, so we have an EVM. On top of the EVM, we have the middleware, which is the Charge. In the past, we called it the Studio when it was for non-technical people. And then the Fuse wallet. And the idea is to create vertical integration by having like 1 foot in the L1 and 1 foot on the consumer side. You can start thinking about an experience that, it's like the browser moment with the internet, where people were using protocols, and then somebody said, okay, let's just have a HTML and a browser, and this standard became really important because it kind of hides the technology behind the scenes. So the idea is to create this vertical integration, and we're still waiting in crypto for the browser moment. We still, think that MetaMask is not something that scales to billions. So and mobile is becoming kind of the future of money. So our big focus was how to take the advantages of L1, the fact that we can operate worldwide in every country, provide open source services. We have a strong incentive that every piece of code is open source and people can use it. And so how do we create something like that, non-custodial, where we don't handle money, don't need licensing, but we didn't want to change user habits. So we think the users need to use this without being, degens, developers, or investors. So that's like the main thinking or philosophy behind the stack. And the second part of that is not to deviate from the standard. So this is as much get as much compliant with Ethereum as possible. So every opcode on Ethereum works here. And it's not about building the fastest blockchain, it's about building a faster blockchain with good enough security. So if we're looking at decentralization, if Ethereum is, let's say, on one side of the spectrum and Binance is on the other, we want to be somewhere in the middle. Every user that uses our wallet needs some kind of identification, even if it's a phone number, because when you start giving people airdrops, you start, or in general, when you have customers on mobile, you start asking questions about them. For instance, are they real? Are they not bots? There is some level of KYC required if you want to handle fiat in your pocket. Like, there's no way anonymity can be like the only choice here. So we thought a lot about different questions, how consumers in the future will actually engage with crypto. I will be happy if you can go to our Fuse Charge or to our platform and play with the products and tell me what you think. So that's really the idea. Questions? Yes. So first of all, I can sell to Israelis without being licensed here. That's a good example. For instance, in Israel, there's no fintech, almost, like very little. You need to be a bank. So that's a good solution. We're looking at multiple trends. People start, using cash less and less before Corona, but now after Corona even more. I think this is like the larger trend. It's happening worldwide in all countries, and we want to offer the closest digital equivalent of physical cash. Visa is not it. Visa is a system from the 60s. So how do we create something that we're not making money from the data, we're not making money from the fees, we're not making money from from selling the code. It's a really different business model, a business model where Visa is not offering consumer protection. Somebody else can offer it. But the platform can't be like a very closed system, fully custodial. This is why if I want to sell to Americans, and to this day, I need to be physically in the US, like as a company. That's the big problem of having like custodial services. They're very, very fragmented. In America, you have ACH. In Europe, SEPA. India UPI. In Israel, we just don't have something like that. But if you support UPI, it's only India. That's it. With those technologies, we're talking about worldwide open source services. I think this is the future. Any more questions? Yes. No. So EVM runs on the Fuse network. Just very similar to, I don't know, if you look at Polygon, Ava, BSC, projects like that. But we're not Ethereum killers, so we're not targeting the audience that uses Ethereum, we're targeting the audience that uses Visa. Yeah.
Maybe can you elaborate a bit further on that, the duality between networks like Ethereum?
I believe that in the future, there won't be like one blockchain everybody will use. The entire human knowledge will not be on Ethereum. I don't see ourselves competing with Ethereum. I see Ethereum suited for specific types of experiments, for specific types of products. Ethereum is a global settlement layer where people can experiment with new products, sometimes products that require like zero trust, and complete permissionless, and really ideas that are, well, let's say, very, very visionary, long-term, but somebody can write a contract and people can pump billions into it and explore, if idea works at scale. And I think that's something new that the world didn't have. The financial system didn't have a playground like Ethereum. But you're already seeing blockchains around specific use cases. Blockchains around NFTs, blockchains around privacy, blockchains around ecosystem for e-commerce, ecosystems for things that are more like gaming, gambling, pretty much any vertical. I don't see payments as a specific vertical, or finance is not specific vertical. Finance is all verticals. So on Fuse, we need a lot of the things you have on Ethereum, like DeFi, you need NFTs, those are like building blocks, Legos. But businesses, SMBs all over the world can use them. If I'm a SMB, I need blockchain. If I'm Nike and I want to mint on Ethereum, I don't need like a blockchain, right? It's like a nice gimmick. They don't care about like the gas costs. It's not a technology that was built for the big ones. It's really technology built for the long tail. The people that don't have access to the system, especially if I'm a small business, I can't compete in the digital world. There's no way I can compete with big companies. So blockchain democratizes this, and we want to build really a sandbox for those SMBs. Like those are the biggest employers. Those are the people that making choices for their customers, how they pay, with which, what's the experience. Things like loyalty, 30% of the retail market is loyalty. Right now, loyalty for SMBs is going to the printer and printing coupons. That's the only way. If I'm a little retailer and I want to compete with the big ones, we want to be the solution. Yeah. Yeah. So familiar with Flutter here? Somebody? So I think that we had like this discussion a few years ago of how to make mobile development affordable, like how to make it more efficient. My previous company invested $10 million in building an app here in Israel in native. There's no financial justification to invest so much money in building fintech products for a small market like Israel. So how do you, if I want to compete with Uber, a local company can compete with Uber. If like building the app shouldn't be the biggest cost, building the app is simple. And we wanted to understand how we can lower, the cost. Flutter allows you to build cross-platform one code base that can run on desktop, iOS, Android, even Raspberry Pi, even phones and TV operating systems. You can run it on all devices. It's a new technology, but just interesting to see how the world is slowly going in that direction. And we wanted to build like the first Ethereum wallet for Ethereum for Flutter, and that required a lot of heavy lifting. But we're doing it for several years, and this wallet that I showed you forked already like 90 times. So the idea is to really think about how to make, if I want to build a wallet, I don't want to hold the. Usually, where you're using tools like Wix and you have customers, your customers are going to sit in Wix database. This technology allows you to build, actual products that customers can use worldwide, but I'm not holding the data. So that's really important. And this is why I think we really need to think how to make this affordable, fast, easy to replicate, easy to customize. We don't see blockchains as something consumer facing in the future. Very good. So if there's no further questions, thank you.